Season 2.5 patch notes are out, so let's talk about what's changing for the Duelists in the game. If you want to know about the strategists or vanguards, we already have videos about that on our channel, and you can check those out. In this video, we're just talking about those damage dealers, as well as their team-up changes. First up, we're talking about Hawkeye. He's seeing an increase in the damage dealt by his arrows. His focus total is going to go up from 70 up to 75, but the charge rate is also increasing. I don't know how this is going to interact too much, if he's going to take too much longer to be able to charge to maximum, but the amount of focus fall off is going to happen a little bit faster, so he's not going to be able to maintain 100 focus as easily when switching targets. I'm a little bit surprised to see an increase in Hawkeye's damage dealt because currently people are talking about his ability to melt through tanks through healing ultimates. He can have some insane damage output. So I think that this change to the focus is going to make it harder for him to get that 100 focus and reduce his total damage dealt a little bit, and is compensating for that with a buff to his basic arrow damage. So when he isn't always getting 100% charge, he's doing a little bit more. Hela is really surprisingly getting a buff. She's getting 2 more ammunition on her basic attack, making her not need to reload nearly as often. When I play Hela, I'm often frustrated by the 8 charges, so going up to 10 is going to feel quite a bit better, but Hela is so strong, so I don't understand why they're just giving her a straight up buff without any kind of nerf changes to go along with it. Human Torch has been a problem, and this patch is looking to bring him down a little bit so he isn't the #1 damage dealer. He's getting 1 damage reduction in each of the hits of his basic attack shotgun, and his alternate fire is going to charge up a little bit slower, gaining charges every 3 seconds instead of every 2 seconds. Finally, the safety from his meteor is going down. He can use it less often, and it's going to give him 25 less bonus health. He was really safe using those meteors, and top-end Human Torches were almost unkillable, so I definitely understand the change to that survivability. And then a slight reduction in his damage. The only frustrating thing I'm going to feel here is I know when I'm playing Torch in the mid-ranks, I know I have a hard time using his alternate fire effectively and getting all those fields down, and this increase is going to make it less likely that I'm going to have my nice square field out to be able to do the maximum damage that I want. This is going to force players into more often using a triangle format for their burn field rather than trying to get the square as often. Iron Fist is another problem character that they're taking a look at changing. They're reducing the amount of bonus HP that he's going to gain from using his Dragon's Defense. He's not going to gain as much bonus health per effect block, and the maximum amount of bonus health he can gain is getting reduced. They're also reducing how easily he's able to stay airborne when he's using his basic attack if there's no currently locked on target. So he's not going to be able to just spam his basic attack and stay in the air almost indefinitely. Finally, the cooldown reduction that his Dragon's Defense gets from his basic attacks is getting reduced slightly from 1.5 per attack hit to 1. So he's not going to gain as many Dragon Defenses if he's able to stay on a target and spam on them. He's going to have to be a little bit more patient with using this ability and can't keep himself defensed up nearly as often. I think this is pretty good. They're not taking away too much of Iron Fist's ability to deal damage. They're instead making him be a little bit safer with how he plays and a little bit more restrained, as well as making it so that he can't be such a menace to flyers if he's not being effective while he's being that menace. Every time he misses a hit, or if he doesn't have a current target, he's not going to be able to stay airborne, and I think that's a good thing. Iron Man is seeing some minor nerfs, with the 3rd blast from his Repulsor Blast having a slight reduction in direct hit damage and spell field damage, as well as getting less bonus health when he activates his Armor Overdrive. The 100 bonus health was pretty insane with how powerful Armor Overdrive is. I think 50 bonus health is a much more reasonable amount, and I don't think this Repulsor change is going to really feel that effective, especially because of the change up, the fact that he's getting a new team up, which we'll talk about in the team up section. Namor's safety is going down to give him a buff to his ultimate, as well as making his squids a little bit more effective. The cooldown of his Blessing of the Deep shield is increasing by 5 seconds. This is a really big increase, and he's not going to feel nearly as safe when you're playing him. It's going to be a lot less frustrating for divers to be able to kill him, because right now, when they do their first dive, he's able to shield himself away and get to safety, and usually by the time they can come back and try again, that ability is already off cooldown. With this change, he's going to have a little bit of a window where he is vulnerable if he's used that shield, and I think that's a healthy game state for him to be in. His ultimate is seeing an increase in size. The total outside diameter is increasing, as well as the diameter of his internal smaller circle that does the maximum damage is getting a slight tweak, so it's a little bit wider. He's also getting a damage reduction if he doesn't manage to hit you with that center circle. The outer circle is getting a slight decrease in his damage dealt, reducing the effectiveness of this if he doesn't land it directly on you. And finally, his monstros are not going to have nearly as much damage fall off based off of distance. Currently, they go down to only 30% effective at their maximum range, and now they're going to be 50% effective at the maximum range. That's pretty significant, and they're going to be doing quite a bit more damage to targets that are staying within its range that aren't within its expected 20-meter distance. This should help you secure those Spider-Men as they're swinging away, or other divers that manage to escape your range. If they're getting away with shreds of HP right now, they will no longer be able to make it to safety. I like these changes to Namor because it kind of makes it so that if he wins the trade with the diver is more likely to lose. Where if he is unsuccessful in his trade with the diver is more likely going to be able to come back and take him out. It's a good trade-off for a character that's supposed to counter those kinds of players, making him not as powerful of a counter, but still giving him some reward. Psylocke is seeing some nerfs. The duration of her invisibility is losing 1 second, and the damage from retrieving her shurikens is getting a slight nerf. This will be a little bit of a decrease in how often she insta-kills somebody with her combo. She is now going to have to land a couple of headshots, I think, to insta-kill most targets, but she's still going to be just as effective, just a little bit less safe with that reduced invisibility timer. Squirrel Girl. Her basic attack is getting 2 more ammunition, reducing how often she has to reload. And her ability to reactivate one of her cooldowns is going down from a 12-second cooldown to a 10-second cooldown. So she's going to be able to get more blockades and more bounces out when played at the maximum effectiveness. Finally, they're doing some user experience improvements. Right now, while playing Squirrel Girl, there's quite a bit of delay in when she activates an ability to it releasing. They're now making her abilities come out a little bit faster during the animation process, which will make her feel a little bit more fluid. Right now, she is definitely one of the most clunky characters, with a long delay between releasing her Squirrel Blockade, bouncing in the air with her tail bounce, or unleashing her Squirrel Stampede. The delay in there often results in her having problems, and I think this is going to help her just feel smoother in general. Star-Lord is getting an interesting change in his ultimate. His ultimate is now going to be more effective at maximum range, and the maximum range is getting increased from 30 to 40. He's going to have an easier time keeping his sights on you and is more likely going to be able to kill you when he does. To make up for that, he's going to get less ultimates. Right now, he is one of the fastest charging ultimate characters in the game, and this is going to make it so that he has quite a few less often moments where he gets to rise up and shred the enemy team, but it's going to be way harder for the enemy team to get away from him effectively. Storm is just seeing an increase to her ultimate's damage per second. I think this is pretty great. Her ultimate is generally not powerful enough to feel that impactful, and she often only gets 1 or 2 kills, even when played really effectively. I think this is going to help her be able to whittle down targets and make it more likely she successfully kills tanks or healers that are actually receiving a little bit of healing when she manages to drop a tornado right on top of them. To make up for the fact that he's no longer getting unlimited ammo, the Punisher is getting some changes to his damage output. He's getting more ammunition on his rifle, and each hit of his rifle is getting a 1 damage increase. He's also having a slight reduction in the spread when he's firing, making it so that you're more likely to hit the target that you have your cursor on. Finally, in his ultimate form, he's going to have less damage reduction. If he's not shooting, he's only going to have a 10% damage reduction instead of the current 20. And when he is firing, he's going to have a 30% movement reduction instead of 40. Just a little bit more mobility while he's using an ultimate should make sure that he's able to keep up with and take out targets. So those are the basic changes, but what's changing with all of the team-ups? Hawkeye and Black Widow's team-up is going away. I think this is fine. This is one of the least used team-ups. It's very rare that you want to have 2 snipers on a team like this, and the team-up was just kind of clunky. I think it's good to get rid of it. Punisher and Rocket Raccoon's team up is going away, and again, I think this is a really healthy one. More so than the previous, I think the unlimited ammo was a real problem. It was hard to tell when he had it in immediate reactions, and he melted through enemy teams with it, and it turned such a major interaction. You always saw if a Punisher locked in, people were like switching over to Rocket because it felt mandatory to have. And a lot of players even felt like there wasn't a point in using Rocket unless Punisher was there. So this removal makes sure that they can keep those 2 characters relevant and in the game without being so reliant on each other. Iron Man is no longer going to gain his Gamma Charge increase from the Hulk, and the Gamma Spawn Monstros are getting a cooldown nerf, increasing it to 20-second cooldown from 15, which I think is actually really smart. The monsters were so easy to spawn out, you were getting so many of them out, and they're just so powerful. A 5-second increase on their cooldown definitely makes sense here. A big nerf here to Spider-Man, the Venom team-up is going away entirely. So neither Spider-Man or Penny Parker are going to be able to unleash the Venom symbiote and get that damage. I think it's going to make Spider-Man more balanceable, because right now that insta-kill combo he has going on when Venom is in the game makes it so that you can't really make him more relevant without Venom. Iron Fist team up with Luna Snow is giving her a little bit less damage. I don't think this is relevant. I don't think anyone will ever notice. It might not get 1 in a billion kills in this game. At the top end level of play, Human Torch and Mr. Fantastic are getting a slight nerf here, with Invisible Woman's team up having a cooldown increase. You can now use it every 25 seconds instead of 20. Most players in most ranks are not using this ability every 20 seconds, and very rarely are they using it in 20-second intervals at any point in a game, so I think this isn't really going to be felt by most players, but it is going to make a difference at the top levels. And finally, another hit to Sai over here. When she's teamed up with Emma Frost, she's not going to get as much damage from her clone. Her clone is now going to deal 20% of her damage output instead of 30%, and that is going to be noticeable. Hawkeye is getting a new team-up buff from Luna Snow. This gives him an icy arrow that he can fire from long range that will penetrate through terrain and should freeze enemies if he hits them a certain distance away. This can be used as a long-range finisher to get someone who's hidden away from you, or a great way to lock down the enemy team that you're trying to chase down or initiate into. Storm gets a new team-up with Jeff. When Storm and Jeff are in the game, if they both ultimate at the same time, Storm's ultimate becomes a Jeff-nado, which is going to be a shark-filled tornado that will suck enemies into the center, gobble them up, and then be able to spit them out after a delay. We don't right now know if this is going to work in tandem with the team-up with Johnny Storm. Can this be a flaming shark tornado? We'll have to see. Punisher is now going to be the supplier of a team-up with Black Widow. This is going to give Black Widow the option to activate an ability to make her sniper scope penetrate through targets. This is massively going to boost up Black Widow's AoE damage potential, and it's going to become a must for when you're playing with Widow. You're going to want Punisher in your games. I really like this team up because the two characters really fit well together in the game. Where having the previous Hawkeye Widow team up, you didn't really want that double sniper life, and it didn't come up very often that was the best choice to pick. This is also going to come with a 5% damage boost for Punisher all the time, which is going to be a nice little buff for him since he can no longer get the unlimited ammo. Iron Man is becoming a team-up anchor with the new Ultron character, which is going to increase Iron Man's damage by 5% across the board. He's also going to give Ultron a new ability, and that team-up is going to be kind of mysterious right now as we don't really know how well Ultron plays or what this is really going to be gaining from it. But we'll have a video talking about Ultron's team-up in the future once we have a better grasp of how it all shakes out. Overall, the changes to these duelists was not particularly surprising. I don't think anything really blew me out of the water with what happens, and there's no significant reworks here. The only thing I'm really concerned about is just making Hela more dangerous. I still think that she's a problem, and these just make her more so of one. Other than that, I was generally pretty pleased with what I saw. I think characters are getting nerfs that deserve it. I think there's a lot of game health improvements going on here, and it's a pretty good patch setup. Let me know what you think of all these duelist changes in the comments below. I'm Zesty Fresh with Zaza Games, and we'll catch you guys next time.